Okay, so before we get started, I just wanted to check with you guys if you have any questions with respect to what we have covered so far, whether day one that was on commonly used terms or on day two that is about the types of IT industries. Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. And what we will do is we'll start with our next topic today. Okay, so what we are going to do today is we are going to discuss about the pre-project activities. So most of the time in IT industry, our work starts when we get a project. Okay, maybe let's say we have to build a software or there's already a client for service based company, maybe a client has already been identified, what type of work that client needs is also identified, and now we engage the relevant people. Yeah, so there are two parts to any project. There are two parts to any project. First is basically identifying the work. Okay, there are different set of people who are basically working on, like let's say for service based industry, there are certain set of people who are working on identifying clients that have some type of software requirements. So who are they, what type of requirement do they have, how do we convince them, how much to charge them. Okay, so there's this entire process that goes in. Okay, now once that client signs the SOW, then the actual work starts. And that's where people like you, me, who are playing the role of business analyst, who are playing the role of a developer, they actually come in. Okay, so you identify the work, and then what we do is utilizing SDLC, that is software development life cycle, we try to implement the agreed upon work. Okay, so what we are doing today is we are focusing on the first part. What's the work? How do people actually how are identifying it? Now obviously we are not going to cover in depth detail of what all activities they do, how they do it, because that's completely outside the scope of this training program. But at least we can have an idea about what all activities being undertaken. Okay, probably how they maybe were executing those tasks, and then getting to a customer or identifying a customer, so that once they sign SOW we get some work. Okay, now once we get the work, then we will start talking about the planning part, the SDLC part, the waterfall model part, and what all activities we have to do as a business analyst. Okay, so today we'll focus on identifying the work, then the IT team structure and project size, that is more to do with the planning part. Okay, the skills part, what skills you need as business analyst, that is in general. Okay, so suppose if you have any questions like what all things I should learn or what are things I should improve in myself in order to be successfully doing the work that a BA is supposed to do. Okay, and after that we will cover SDLC, and once we cover SDLC, then we will talk in detail about business analyst roles and responsibilities across different phases of SDLC. Okay, so when it comes to pre-project activities, or basically identifying, you know, what type of work to be done, who all are our clients. So the first question is, what type of people are involved over here. Okay. Now, normally you see sales. So some of the organizations, they have a consulting domain. Okay. So what they do is they have uh, people who have completed their MBAs. At least that's what they do in India. Mostly hire people who have completed their MBAs, an MBA into sales, marketing, people management, or MBA even in IT as well. Okay. So these people, they join into the consulting domain, and what they are primarily tasked with is on building connections. Okay. Now, identifying clients may not be like a government contract. Okay, so if you know that government always issues their contracts or advertise about upcoming contracts in the newspaper and invites for applications against that contract. So multiple companies can apply, they will go through the bidding process, and then based on that one will be shortlisted. But when it comes to IT industry, or even for that matter, if you see, suppose you have to buy a phone, or maybe you have to buy some clothes. Okay, what will you do when you have to buy some clothes? Probably you will call your friend, you may call your colleague as well, and you may ask them that, hey, where can I find such type of clothes? Maybe let's say I want to buy traditional clothes, so where can I find good traditional clothes in Hyderabad? Okay. Now your colleague or your friend may tell you about the places where you can buy good traditional clothes in Hyderabad. You may visit that place and buy it. Okay. So the same thing happens in the IT industry as well. A lot of thing works out on connection basis. Okay. My responsibility would be as a person in consulting domain is to build good, healthy connections, maintain those connections so that if anything is available in the market, I get to know about it. And a lot many times this is how the IT industry operates as well. If you see people at the higher level, they are being paid more, probably because of the number of connections they have, number of influences they can make. So one thing is 100 people, there is another thing like I know those 100 people, and if I tell them that give your work to Accenture or TCS, then they will give that work to Accenture, TCS, because I have spent those many years with them building that connections. So most of the time, the work that they come to know about, or the work or the client that they interact with, is through connections only. Okay, now obviously, how do we build connections? How do we identify clients? That is something that we are not going to talk in this training program. But understand that connections play a significant role in getting the work. Even if tomorrow you guys start a business and if you want a software, even you guys will do the same thing. You guys will not go and advertise that I need a software. You will probably call your friends, family, colleagues that, hey, I'm going to start a restaurant business, or maybe I'm going to start a supermarket and I want some type of software. Let me know if you can help me, if you know someone who can help me. Now, this entire process actually is divided into four steps. So the first one is called RFI, that is request for information. Second step is called RFP, that is request for proposals. Now, post proposals, there could be certain short listings as well. Then there is RFQ, that is request for quotation. And then the last would be, I could say, discussions and SOW signing. Okay, so it's a four-step process. Okay, and today we'll look at these four steps. Okay, what happens in every step, right from step one to step three. Step four is something that we have already covered. Okay, so let's get started. So now what actually happens in RFI step? That's the first step. So suppose, like we were discussing our case, you guys are going to start a new business. You all want to set up a supermarket. So you call your friends, ask them, or maybe you will call other people who are running supermarkets. Okay, maybe you will visit other supermarket stores, talk to the owner, see what kind of softwares they use, who is the vendor for those softwares, and maybe you will ask the owner to share their contact details so that you can also approach them, or you can call your friends and ask them for certain referrals. Okay, now either ways, whether you ask for referrals or whether you approach other owners and ask them for the vendors for which they are using software, either ways you will get some contacts. Okay, now when these IT people actually reach out to you, they will not simply tell you how much money we will charge and all that information. First they would like to know from you what type of software do you need, what all capabilities or features that software should have. Okay, so that entire process is called request for information. That means the IT person is requesting for information from the owner. Okay, so the IT company representative or IT company is requesting for information from the owner. I'm requesting for information. What kind of information do I need is like a little bit of details, client details. That's how you start uh, with, building connections as well. You don't simply jump onto work. You start with little bit of background, like what's your background? What's my background? How did you decide to do this business? Okay, they may not be relevant to the software that you want to build, but maybe good to build connections. So you look for certain details or you explore details about the client. Then you go about their vision. Okay, what is it that you want to build? Why did you enter this business? How do you want to change this landscape of supermarket business? Okay, so what's your vision going to be? And then what are your goals or objectives with respect to the software? Okay, what do you expect the software to do? What all things the software should have? Okay, now once you understand what the client is actually asking for, that is when you can go and review the next steps. So maybe, okay, and it is possible that in the first step itself, you may not be working with just one vendor. Maybe you may be working with, let's say, five vendors, and let's name them as A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so I would meet with them, I would talk to them, I'll answer their questions as a client, I'll provide them with all the details about myself, about my vision, and about what goals, objectives I have, what kind of features am I looking for in the software. Okay, then people who will be using the software. Okay. Now then we go on to the next step. Now that you have got the sufficient information, so now client expects the IT company to submit a proposal that whatever information you asked for, I gave you. Now remember guys, asking for information doesn't have to be a one day process. It could go over a couple of days as well. Okay, unless we both agree that okay, I have sufficient information, I'll get started with the proposal. So the second step that comes over here is now the client expects you to submit a proposal against the information I provided. So what's this proposal actually look like? Now it could be in the form of a Word document, it could be in the form of a presentation. Now, but basically what I look for is, I mean what client looks for in proposal document is company overview, background, or you can call as history. Okay. So what my company looks like, how many employees are there, how long have I been operational over here, how many clients have I served, a brief overview about the company, then history of the company or background, maybe how many projects have I successfully delivered so far, how happy the clients are with my work. Okay, if I have done this type of work or not. Maybe I'm an IT company, but maybe I am building softwares only for, let's say, e-commerce application. I have never developed a software for supermarket stores. So then the client may be doubtful whether you'll be able to do it or not. So if we have the relevant experience, we highlight that as well in under the background or the history section. That how many clients have we served, of that how many were related to this particular domain itself. Now once you say that, then you can also include citations from previous clients, specifically in this domain, that how happy they are with respect to with respect to uh, whatever work you have delivered. Okay, now all these things are basically still talking, giving more comfort level to the client with respect to convincing the client that you are the appropriate person for it. You are giving your overview, background or history related to the work that you have done, citations or reviews from the previous clients about how good you have been with your work. Okay, so through all this, what you are trying to do is you are in a way trying to bring a positive energy to the client that see, I am the appropriate person for it. Okay. Now this alone is not enough. Okay, if you just provide this information, this does not tell the client what exactly are you going to do. This is good to build the foundations, but then in proposals, along with building foundations, we also include details like what is my plan going to be. Okay, so a client who wants to build a supermarket application for billing, maybe I'll talk in terms like I'll take 6 months, I'll hire 20 people to get the work done in 6 months and all that. So what's my plan going to be? Okay. And then we have solution. You can say solution, the solution would come first, followed by the plan. So you first will provide a solution. Remember, because there is no technical team involved here as such, so the solution is more of a conceptual one. Okay, that we may be using the latest technologies of AWS, will build a website on AWS, we will do XYZ thing. Whatever that solution is, that is on the conceptual level. and how are we going to implement that solution? What's my plan for implementing that solution going to be? Okay, so plan may include like I'll utilize Scrum framework, I'll hire 20 people, I'll have a development team and a production support team. The production support team will have will look at all your production issues for first 6 months. After that, we can then discuss what should happen. So basically, the entire detailed plan, except for how much will I charge as money. When client reviews this proposal, they may shortlist few candidates. Okay, they may say that, okay, looking at the overview, history, past reviews, uh, the solution that they are going to implement, the plan that they have, they may say that I will hire 3 vendors, or I'll shortlist 3 vendors. Now they can work with B, C, and E. That maybe I want to go ahead with these people only. Now for these 3 people, okay, then the next step that they come or that the client asks for is quotation. Quotation is what? That is the money part. Okay. Now usually they don't mix the money into the proposal because you for any new projects, and when I say projects, projects are usually of bigger size and they are little costly. For any small enhancements here and there, they are not very costly. So for those, you can include quotations in proposal itself. But when you are trying to convince a client to give you the work, when there are lot of other competitors around you, so you do these quotations part interactively, face to face wise, so that if client has any questions, if there are any negotiations that needs to happen, you can do that as well or take care of it. Okay, so the third step of quotation is basically talking about the money part. How much I am going to charge you to build the software. Okay, so for that money part, what usually happens is the work, and Nagarjun, to answer your question yesterday, the work could be done primarily in 2 ways. Okay, one is called fixed fee project. So what happens in fixed fee is I will tell client, you give me, let's say, 1 million US dollar. You give me 1 million US dollar, and then you forget about whether I hire one person or 10%, whether I hire experienced person or freshers, okay, whether I hire one manager or 10 managers, how good the BAs are. You don't have to worry about it. I will take care of hiring. I will take care of managing the people. I'll take care of allocating the work to them. I'll take care of implementing the software or creating the software. I will give you the demo whenever the software is ready. Okay, so basically you give me a fee and then you don't have to worry about your involvement. Now we can work on weekly basis or maybe 10 days and I will give you updates, but you don't have to be involved in day to day management and tracking of the work. Okay, so that is called fixed fee. You give me a fee and I will deliver the work. Okay, suppose if something goes wrong, initially I thought I will hire 20 people and I'll get the work done. When I start doing the work, I realize now I don't need 20, I need actually 50 people to do the work. So I cannot go back to client and say that, hey, I'm hiring more people, so we need to revise our contract. This will not be 1 million, this will be 2 million now. So that cannot happen. In fixed fee, whatever fee you guys, you as in the client and the people from the IT side, whatever money they agreed upon in the starting, that is the money in which the work needs to be delivered, whether you did the wrong estimation or whether you did the right estimation. Because eventually what happens, what we said is we all uh, get to a level of SOW, statement of work. So everything is legally carried in SOW. Okay, so that's the first part. You just throw in the money to client, and then what happens is, we as in the IT company looks at aspects of people management, work allocation, work completion, everything, you can say architecture, whatever is there. And we cannot go back to client and say that, hey, we did the wrong estimation, we would like to revise our estimates, this project cannot be done in 6 months, this would require 9 months. So we cannot do like that as well. That's where the fixed fee, that's where the name comes as fixed fee. Okay, the second popular one is called resource based, or in some organizations it is also called as time and money projects. Okay, so what happens in resource based or time and money is, I will not give a fixed amount to the client. What I will tell to the client is, hey, based on my assumptions, based on the solution that I have, based on the plan that I provided, I think I will require 20 people to do the job. Okay, out of these 20, let's say I have one project manager, two BAs, okay, maybe I'll have five developers, I'll have three testers, and let's say I have two architects. How many people are these? 5, 3, 8 to 10, 12, 13. So instead of, let's say, we'll have 13 people. Okay. Now I would require 13 people, and this is the breakdown of those 13 people. Okay. So these 13 people will work together for 6 months to get the work done. Okay. Now for architects, let's say for architects, I will charge you, let's say $20 per hour. Okay. For architects, I'll charge you $20 per hour. For BA, maybe I'll charge you, I'll say $19 per hour. Okay. And so forth. And maybe for developer, I'll charge you, let's say again, $19 per hour. And the same billing for testing and other people will also be there. So I would require 13 people. This is the breakup of those 13 people. Okay, these 13 people will work over 6 months time, and this is what their billing looks like. Okay, now depending on the number of hours everyone spends, okay, accordingly we can do the calculation. Suppose if architect is going to work for 2 hours every day, that means I will charge you $40 every day for 6 months. Okay, if architect did not work after 1 month, then I will not charge you after 1 month. So you see, there is no fixed amount as such that I am telling to the client. All I am telling to the client is that I would have certain people, breakdown of certain people, the duration, and the billing rate for those people. Okay, now based on this, I can give you a rough estimate. Okay, but that is not the fixed estimate. Things could go up, things could go down. Okay, now when it comes to these two models, which one should a client select? Okay, or how does even client go about selecting it? Now for clients that are completely into operating their business and have no exposure to IT, usually they go with fixed fee. Okay, now companies or clients that have little bit of IT on their side as well, they usually go for resource based or time and money projects. Why do they do this? Because they know we can have an IT project manager on our side. When I say our side, that is nothing but client side. Okay. So we can have an IT project manager on our side, and that IT project manager will actually take care of work allocation, who is doing what, how much people are engaged, who is spending actually how much of time. So that way we can accurately track and we can make necessary adjustments. Suppose if someone from IT side is looking after these people, and maybe architect is spending only 2 hours, but IT company is telling me architect is spending 8 hours. So I may have to pay more money. So it is better that I hire my own project manager, and then my project manager will take care of managing all these people, assigning work, tracking how much work they are doing and what they are doing. So usually big companies, you can say Fortune 500 companies, or even companies that have good amount of money that they can spend on building their own IT, they go with resource based or time and money projects. But smaller companies that are more likely that have only people related to their business operations, they don't have any IT itself. They usually outsource their IT work completely, and they don't worry about hiring an IT project manager on my side, building an IT team on my end as well. They don't want to do any of it, so they completely outsource the project. They give the project to IT company and ask them to manage everything. Okay. Now when it comes to money, I have talked to client in the starting about trying to get the information from them, so I know what type of quotation I can put in. Even if you go to any shops, guys, any shop, mobile shop, clothes shop, if you see the shopkeeper, the first thing they will do is they will ask you for your budget. Sir, what's your budget? Or ma'am, what's your budget? Based on that only they will show you the products. Okay. So even before we reach till quotation part, remember when we were saying about that IT company looks for information from client. So they also have some discussion around what the budget they are looking for. That way even IT company can decide whether it is beneficial for me to go forward or not. If IT company thinks that the client is not ready to pay a lot of money, so I will not make profits, so there's no point going forward, so they will withdraw from there itself. But if they have gone till the RFQ part, that means there is some positive vibes that things will go in their direction. Okay. Now, either ways, that is up to the client, that is up to the IT company as well and client both to agree upon. As an IT company, I can give them both option. I can tell them that if you want to work with me on fixed fee, this is what my fixed fee going to be. If you want to work with me on resource based, this is what my resource based going to be. Now it's up to you to decide which one you want to pick. Okay. So I'll stop at the third step, see if there are any questions. Citations are nothing but, did I not write it? Reviews. Okay, good reviews. How much work you, suppose in previous you worked with certain clients, how do they feel about your work? Okay, in LinkedIn you have recommendations, so that is similar to citations. Okay, any other questions? Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. So let's move forward. Uh, Now let's say that client agreed on the fixed fee model. Okay, they said, okay, I don't want to worry about how many people plus for how many hours they will be working. That is too much of calculations. For me, I want some clarity how much money I have to spend so that I can keep aside that money, and except that money, I'll utilize all other money for my business operations. Okay, so this gives me clear picture. Even IT companies want clients to choose fixed fee models. Okay, so in fixed fee, what happens is the entire work is kind of overtaken by the IT company. Now I can decide, I can maybe, form a team that is mixed of freshers or experienced candidates, and then I can get the work done plus save money as well. In resource based or time and money, even I know that client may hire a project manager or at their end, and they may very closely monitor what work my people are doing. So the chances of making more money, making more profits in resource based or time and money may not be as good. Okay, so assume that client said I want to go with fixed fee. We said okay, this is our fixed fee model. Then what happens finally is you sign the SOW. Now remember guys, client does not have to agree with only one vendor. Maybe I am thinking that my vendor B is more good in terms of building softwares, and vendor C has good reputation of maintaining quality or doing testing of the software. So maybe I can shortlist after looking at quotation. I can shortlist vendor B and C, or maybe I can give the entire work to one vendor only. That is up to me. That is up to me to decide. Me as in the client to decide. Now, once you have finalized, the last step of this is actually signing the agreement. Okay? And that is what is known as SOW, that is statement of work. So now whatever discussions we had, okay, nothing was legally documented anywhere. What kind of client it is, what kind of softwares they want to build, what kind of money I am proposing to the client, what is my plan going to be. Okay, what happens if either of us backs out? What happens when either of us is expecting more work to be done? Maybe client told me that you just give me a software for my supermarket billing. Okay, so we will mention that also in the agreement, that this is what the agreement is going to be, this is what I'm going to give you. So tomorrow if you come up and say that no, I just don't want billing software, maybe give me an e-commerce platform as well. Okay, so that cannot be changed. Maybe we will have to sign new SOW for e-commerce platform. Okay, so that way we both know through SOW what is actually expected out of us. Okay, what type of work needs to be done, how it needs to be done, where all it needs to be carried out. Okay, any questions so far? So, Nikita, for your question, BA will not go anywhere. So we said over here, it's the consulting domain of any or IT organization, which basically involves sales and marketing team. It is their responsibility to identify clients, work with them, convince them, and get the work or sign an SOW. Okay, our work starts when the SOW has been signed, client has already given us the work. Now we need to meet the client and talk about the software part, that what kind of work do you need, what are your detailed requirements. So Nagarjun, when you are signing SOW, okay, there is no fixed scope. All you are trying to say is we will give you a billing software. Okay, now your questions are more from a delivery perspective, that during delivery, BA is giving requirements like uh, we should be able to scan the QR code and get the information populated. Now BA is coming up and saying that we should give multiple options to the people, that they can scan the QR code, they can either enter the product ID and then get the information. Okay, so when the requirements, detailed requirements change at the delivery level. Okay, so when your requirements change at the delivery level, you don't sign the SOW again. Okay, SOW you already agreed upon what type of features do I need. Now definitely because of change in requirement, suppose earlier you said maybe scanning the QR code feature I will take 1 week to implement. Now if someone says you can scan or you can type the product ID, once you type the product ID and hit the enter button, it should automatically populate the product details. Okay, so that feature I may take another 1 week. So now originally we thought like we will do the entire work, entire development in 1 week, testing in 1 week. Now maybe development itself will take 2 weeks and testing will take 2 weeks. So change in estimates because there is change in the scope of the work that is assigned to me. For that you don't sign the SOW again. Okay, SOW is at your goal or vision what you want to do. You don't do your requirement gathering at SOW level. Okay, that is why we have BAs. Okay, and that is where when you are signing SOW, when you are providing the quotations before signing SOW, you take into consideration these things, you as in the sales and marketing team, that maybe not every time things will go as expected. Maybe client will change requirements, maybe we'll have to do some rework also. So they will always provide quotation at the higher end and not at the lower side. Okay, and for scope change during requirement gathering, that goes for re-estimations. So that's what actually we do over here. Suppose if I am working with client, let's say client said I want to identify a billing software, I want to build a billing software, then I as a product owner will first discuss with client on what all those features look like, how they will work out. Okay, what is our plan going to be, maybe how are we going to divide this entire building of software into 6 months, what are we going to do first month, second month, third month, and so on. Once we have that plan ready, once we know what we have to do every month, that is when you involve BA, that on first month we want to build the, or we want to create the design only. In second month we want to get the scanning of QR codes. So maybe first month, because we have to do the design, now work with the client or work with me. I being the product owner, I have all the information. So you either work with me or work with the client directly and get detailed requirements from them. Okay, now while getting detailed requirements, if something scope is getting changed here and there, then you again work with your product owner to say that this cannot be done in 1 month. Maybe we'll need more time. Or if you cannot give us more time, we need more people. But even then, as a business analyst, do I care if we cannot do the work in more than 1 month? To be practical with you guys, that's not how it is. We have project manager, we have scrum master. Let them figure out how to get the work done in less time. For me, I work with client to get requirements. If client is changing requirements, I have to change requirements. Okay. So if requirements are getting changed, then for those changed requirements, what is new estimate going to be? Okay, this can't be worked out numerically in fixed cost. How do we handle assumptions of clients on features, communication gap at sales part? So, Nagarjun, do you have IT experience? Like, have you worked in IT industry so far, or like you are trying to get to IT industry? So the reason why I'm asking you that question is, have you worked for 12 hours, 14 hours, 16 hours in a day? Have you worked for, more than what is expected from you at work? That, maybe companies saying that you guys just work for 8 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours, but, I end up spending 10 hours, 12 hours, 14 hours. Why that happens? Why do we spend more time than what is expected to be? One is maybe we did some mistake, and in order to cover for that mistake, we are spending extra hours. Or at the sales side, in order to get the project, someone told that we can do this work in less time, whereas it is not possible to do the work in less time. Now we are suffering because of that. Okay, so not everything goes as hunky dory, that if something is going to take 10 hours, you give exact estimate of 10 hours. Not every time you will have fixed requirements. There is nothing like fixed requirements. Okay, you make some assumptions. If those assumptions change, you revise your estimate, but there is nothing like fixed requirement. Businesses are never fixed. If we have fixed businesses, you will never have innovations. You see how the industry has changed over time. There was the world of internets, then laptops, desktop were used primarily. Now you see how things have changed, and we are using our mobile phones to access internet. So when the technology evolves, the industry evolves too. Okay, so you cannot say, maybe earlier when you are building software, you may say that just give me a website and I'm okay. Now, will anyone say that I just want a website? No, I want a website plus I want a mobile application plus if you can give me AI capabilities, I want that as well. So businesses are never fixed. So we should never think that our requirements are also fixed. Requirements are bound to change. Okay, that is why we have agile framework in place, because we think that the best way to address changing requirements is to work on smallest piece of requirement. Okay, that way you can deliver something. And we no longer want to do the work in waterfall model. In waterfall model, maybe your basic assumption was that everything is fixed, and then I'll move forward. Okay, so don't assume that requirements or work is fixed, especially if you are working on long term projects that go for 1 year, 6 months, 6 months or more than 6 months. They are never going to be fixed. Industries evolve, businesses change, and so do their priorities also change. Now when priorities change, we cannot tell the customer, hey, why are you changing requirements? I will not work on this requirement. What we try to do is we try to handle these situations more tactfully. And what is that? Okay, I understand that situations are changing, but because situation have changed at your end, so I need to go back to my team and ask them that for this changed requirement, how much more effort will they require? Okay, now that's why project manager is there. I'll talk to the team. They say that earlier we gave estimate of 100 hours, now maybe it will take 150 hours to do the work. Now it is project manager or scrum master's duty or responsibility to ensure that how can they get the work done by either hiring more people or by asking the existing team to stretch beyond 8 hours to get the work done, because client is not ready. I mean, client is ready to pay extra. Client is saying that instead of charging 8 hours, you charge 12 hours to me. I'll pay extra. but I want work to be done before Friday only. I don't want you to change the timelines. So many a times when you actually start working, you will realize that the most easiest way IT industry works is by asking their employees to stretch beyond the required hours so that they can still meet the timelines. Obviously, on a lighter note, for working for 12 hours, no one will give you extra salary, but yeah, at least the industry will benefit. I mean, the company will benefit. Okay, any questions? And Nagarjun, I hope I was able to answer your questions. Or are you clear, or you have any doubts? Okay, and don't overburden or stress yourself with how this is going to happen, how that is going to happen. Okay, everyone in IT industry has a fixed, not fixed, but certain roles and responsibilities to fulfill. Okay, we must we must first think of fulfilling our roles and responsibilities diligently. Okay, now if we are finding some problem, there are two ways of addressing it. One is saying that this is not my problem, or second is that okay, I have done my work, maybe I can help over here. Maybe I don't have to do the work, but at least I can notify the appropriate people. For example, client is asking for changes in requirement. Maybe I don't have to do the work, but let me notify my development team. Let me get the new estimates from them. Let me talk to project manager and say that development team is giving new estimates, and let the project manager get involved in ensuring that they still deliver the work in the given time only. Okay, and then I go back and communicate to my client that yes, we will be able to deliver the work though our estimates have changed. Team will work for extra hours or beyond their working hours to get the work done. Okay, but in all these things, if you see, do I have to manage people? Do I have to tell them what they have to do, how many hours they need to work in? If someone is angry, do I need to persuade them? Do I need to calm them down? I don't. But can I do it? Yes, you can. If you have experience, if you want to do it, definitely go ahead. No one is stopping you. But do I have to do it? The simple way could be notifying project manager and let them take care of all this, rather than me worrying about who is happy, who is not happy. So multiple ways, but first start with your own work. Get your work completed and then worry about other things. Okay. Now in tomorrow's class, what we will do is, assuming that we have got the work SOW, let's first look at how the team could be structured, what are the different project sizes, and depending on the project size, how this team could be formed again. Again, it's not for BAs usually to form the team, it is more for the project managers to decide this, but it is good for us as well to know how the team looks like so that we can accordingly take help or involve people. Okay, now once we do all this activity, this will be done tomorrow. Day after tomorrow, we will spend some time learning or getting to know about different skills that are needed for a business analyst. Okay, and now you may have certain questions like how do I build or acquire those skills. So any skills will take some time, so we can discuss during that class. Okay, and then next week onwards, we will start our discussion specifically related to SDLC, what BA roles and responsibilities will be on SDLC. Okay, what are requirements, who are stakeholders. Okay, so next week onwards, we will start discussing specific items related to business analyst. Okay. So just last questions, if anyone has any last minute question. Okay, I'll take the silence as no questions. Well, thank you guys for your time. We'll connect tomorrow at the same time.